Welcome back to That Plumbing Podcast. I'm Brandon the Plumber, and this is episode 25. I'm here with Josh this week. Hey, Josh, always good to have you on. Josh is SleepyPlumbr, and he has a lot of YouTube and TikTok stuff. So if you haven't seen him before, go check him out. This episode is about mindset. And the reason why I'm bringing this subject up in particular is because here in Phoenix, it gets slower at the beginning of the summer. 6 million people in the whole area, but yet we do definitely see a noticeable drop off in the summertime. You say it's because the snowbirds leave, which that makes sense. But now is the time for people in our area to really take advantage of the lack of work and slow down and really build that relationship with the customer, because you might have 2 calls, you might have 1 call for a day. So we need to really be maximizing those calls the best we can, especially if it's a new customer and they haven't seen the type of service that you're offering, or maybe it's customers that you've had in the past, but you've never really gotten a chance to slow down and really build that relationship and inspect the whole system. You can take your time and turn something that might be something simple like a toilet leaking and end up replacing toilets, or get into the softener or the filtration conversation. I really look at it as a huge advantage the summertime. And at our company, we are like drilling home the idea of that. And the mindset plays a big part in all of this. And the way that you might be prejudging calls or your confidence when you're talking to the customer. It's like a whole package, this plumbing service stuff. And I would say that at its core, it really has nothing to do with plumbing. It has to do with your mindset and the way that you see yourself, your profession, and the people that you interact with on a daily basis. So getting out of that broke fix mindset into the education over persuasion, it's all tying in together. But first off, mindset is crucial. Josh, what do you think when it comes to mindset? Do you have a routine every morning? Do you have something to get in the mood when you're on your way to your first call? How do you become Josh every day?
Yeah, mindset is like super important, especially when, let's say, for example, we're going to speed forward and back up, and then we're going to go all the way around here. Let's say your first call, you go out, you have a terrible customer. They're all angry. They're nasty. They're mad. And they put you in a bad mood at this point, right? Say it's 9:30 and you're headed to your second call. You've got to turn on that switch and you have to go right back to neutral. You can't let them drag you down for the rest of the day. You have to get out of that mindset. You have to know that the next customer is going to be the greatest customer that you've ever met, even if they're not. Even if you have back to back to back horrible customers all day, you have to be the guy that's going to show up and be the knight in shining armor, the superhero in the cape, whatever it is, and fix their problem to the best of the ability that you can, and not bring any of that baggage with you from customer to customer. And that really comes back to keeping a positive mindset from call to call. Even if the call went to shit and everything went wrong, you have to shake that off and get back into it. I know that one thing that I really love is music. And anytime I'm riding in the van by myself, I'm probably singing music. I don't know if I'm really like trying to hype myself up, but it's always been in me and I love to sing and it makes me happy. And I know that. And so I use that as a tool to get me in a mood that I know is going to be good for me and the customer when I get to their house. So whatever that is for you, if you like to listen to podcasts, if you like to listen to music, if you don't like to listen to anything at all, if you like to talk to yourself, I don't know, that's up to you. That's not for me to judge. Whatever you want to do is what you want to do. And I think that you have to find what's going to work best for you to help you get through the day easily. As long as you're keeping a positive mindset from person to person and not taking baggage from one customer to another, I think that's really the goal here. Another thing, this is more like a personal growth type thing, but recently I've been reading a lot of books, and books always help you expand your knowledge. And I think it puts you into a good mindset of trying to learn, trying to explore more things. I'm currently reading one. It's by John C. Maxwell. It's called Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. And it's a really good book. I'm only like halfway through, but I have a quick quote. The book you don't read can't help you. The seminar you don't attend can't change your life. The business gets better when you get better. Never wish it were easier. Wish you were better. End quote. That's really something that stuck with me. I'm like, man, it looks inwardly. Instead of comparing yourselves to others, you just really need to look inward and try and improve yourself, whether it's your mindset, your knowledge base, your attitude, whatever it is. I do think that personal growth is a good way to increase your discipline and having a good mindset. And it's not going to happen overnight either. It's just one of those things that you're going to have to continuously work on. It's a perishable skill that always has to be worked on as well.
I agree with all that. Having a morning routine, like for me personally, there's like a group of 10 songs that I know can consistently get me in at least a good mood, or at least pull me out of a negative mood. And then I can start to rebuild like my mindset. And it really, we're talking about self-help. We're talking about personal growth. We're talking about all the things, growth mindset. It all plays into service plumbing in particular, because our job has so much to do with client interaction. And what I found is it's not only the baggage that the customer has, it's the baggage that you carry with yourself, with your wife, your kids, your uncle, whomever, friends. If your mind is all chaotic and all over the place and you're overthinking and then you're in your van by yourself, there is no way that is not going to affect your interaction with the client. It's just, you might not be aware of it, but it's happening. So I think, like you said, having a routine, I mean, in my opinion, it starts the night before when you go to bed at a good time, and which I am not great at. So this is not coming from a place of preaching, but like you start off the day, you have to go to bed at a good time. And so it's the night before when the process starts. And then you have some people like meditation, some people you're eating breakfast. What can you do to reset your mind before you get to the client's house? And I wouldn't even say you necessarily need to be positive, like Mr. Plumber, ready to go and give options and all this, but at least be neutral. Don't be negative and don't prejudge calls. And that is probably, just off the top of my head, one of the biggest mistakes that we as service technicians make is prejudging calls and thinking that we know the customer better than they know themselves or what they're going to choose. Every call is a realm of possibilities. And if you're already shutting doors and thinking that they're not going to do this because of that, then you're just limiting yourself.
At that point, you're drawing a box around yourself.
Exactly. First off, it's not personal. So if a client is being negative towards me for whatever reason, probably doesn't have much to do with me, and it probably has more to do with what they're dealing with in their private life. We have no idea what was going on with them before this plumbing issue. I'm sure you've been into customers' houses where it's like this husband and wife are definitely always arguing, and they're just holding it back because I'm there right now trying to be nice. And you can't take it personal, and you just have to have an optimistic mindset is a good way to start.
Yeah. A couple things on the prejudging calls. And I catch myself doing this sometimes. So whenever I see a name come across and I know the customer and I know where I'm going, I know what house I'm going to because I've been there before, and I automatically go, oh crap, man, it's this customer. Oh man, I don't want to go there. This sucks. This sucks. This sucks. That's the first thing that goes right through your mind. And then I go, all right, you got to cut it out right now. You have to nip that in the bud, be done with that, because you need to look at that call, see what the line item is for. Hey, it's a leaking toilet. Okay, cool. I've never actually worked on any toilets in their house, so it's probably not a callback or anything that I did. It's a new problem. You have to go in here with completely new mindset. Even if the customer is annoying, maybe they talk your ear off all day. Who knows? Maybe they look over your shoulder and say, hey, what are you doing there? That's fine. Let them do their thing. All right. That's what the customers are going to do. And we can't change that fact. But you got to go into it with, like we said, neutral mindset. Go in there, give them options like you always do. And then they're going to choose the best option that works for them. Another thing, if you've never been to the customer's house, you show up, say it's $25 million house. Don't expect that they're going to buy every single thing that you offer them, because most of the time it's actually the exact opposite. You're going to show up into a shanty town, windows boarded up, doors falling in, and the floors are caving down, and they're going to buy a tankless, a softener, a PRV, a faucet, a toilet, and a shower. You can't prejudge any of that before you walk in. One of the things that we strive at my company to do is try and offer financing options to every single customer. And we can't prejudge a customer by thinking, oh yeah, they have a big house and a nice car. They could pay for this $4,000 job. You can't think that way, because a lot of those people use financing to their advantage, which is perfectly fine. We live in a great country that allows us to do that. And you should offer that to every single customer, whether they live in a small house or a big house. I know that I've caught myself multiple times prejudging some of that, and I stop it. I go in there, I present my options, and I walk out with $8,000. And I'm like, man, I did not expect this call to go this way. And it's always a great feeling when that happens, but you just have to keep that neutral mindset, go in there, take care of the customer like any other, and do your thing.
Follow the process. Every call is the same in that way. And it's easy to start skipping around and thinking, like, because I still do this, and I've done it, is I'm such a good salesman. I can just sense that he's not going to go for this. Like, I'm so in tune with human psychology that I just know this is a waste of time to offer him this. And that's delusional. You don't know. We are profiting because we get a commission and whatnot, but we are there to lay the cards out and let the customer choose and not judge for them, not choose for them, but let them choose. And I guarantee anyone listening to this, if you start being as diligent as you can in offering those options, your customers will surprise you. Absolutely. And like you said, the people with the bigger houses, not all the time, of course, but sometimes they're the quote cheapest. I don't think they understand the value in labor, in like skilled trades, some of them. There's lots of things going on, but I've definitely had more luck with lower income areas, I guess, whatever
like
you want to say,
homes.
As far as people buying.
Moderate homes are usually like some of my biggest tickets. I live in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, just like a split level, pretty standard house. I would say on the lower end, cheaper end of houses in my area. That's where I make most of my money, is houses like these. Normal middle-class America, man.
Yeah. Same thing over here. So prejudging galls is a huge killer to your potential.
Touch back on the routine stuff that you were talking about. I know something that works for me, and I'm not going to harp on this too long, but I've done this program. I'm on my third try now, or my third pass, I should say. I've done this twice, but it's a program called 75 Hard. I don't know if you've heard of it. If you haven't, go check out the Real AF podcast. He talks about it. It's awesome. I'm not going to go into it very far, but it is a mental toughness program, and it helps me really get my mind where it needs to be to serve my customer best and for me to be my sharpest on a day-to-day. So like currently, my schedule is I wake up at 4:45 and I go for a walk for 45 minutes outside every morning. Sometimes I listen to podcasts, sometimes I listen to music, sometimes I just listen to the birds chirping in the morning. And I take 45 minutes of myself and I walk around the neighborhood and it feels great. Once I get home, I let the dogs out, make my breakfast, make my lunch, get ready for work. I go to work. And by the time I'm at work, I've already been awake for 2 hours and I'm ready to go. I'm focused. And that has really helped really kickstart my days. And now by the time we get to about this time of the day, I'm starting to get pretty tired and I'm ready to go to bed by 9 or 10, like an old person like myself. But it really helps get that mindset started and rolling early in the morning. Not saying that you have to get up at 4:45 and do that, but you got to find what works best for you. And I feel like that has really been beneficial for me.
What was the program called?
75 Hard. It is like personal growth. Basically, it is promoted as a mental toughness program. The system that you do is you have to work out twice a day. There is a workout portion of it. Work out twice a day, 45 minutes each. One of them has to be outside. They cannot be consecutive. You also have to drink 1 gallon of water per day. You have to take a picture of yourself every day. You have to stick to a meal plan of some sort, whether that is counting macros, keto, whatever have you. Whatever works best for you, do that. Just don't eat any crap food. Drink no alcohol. Read 10 pages of a nonfiction book per day. I believe that's it.
A lot. That's a lot of stuff to do, especially if you're not used to doing stuff like that.
And you have to do it for 75 days straight. It changes your mind, that's for sure. I did it once last year. I did it once over the winter this past year. And then I just started it about a week and a half ago. And I'm probably going to tap out because my knee's really hurting. But we'll make it as far as we can. Knees. Dude, I got old man knees, man. But I'm still going to work on that the mental part of it to still stay sharp there. Whether I can do the physical part of it, that's okay. Physical ailments do come first.
Yeah, and it's about discipline, but it starts as it can be something as simple as 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You can get tremendous amount of relief from 5 minutes of actual meditation. It's not like this big thing. You don't even have to make time for it per se. You can sit in your van for 5 minutes and just try and clear your mind. Motivational videos is one that I've used, and it's really easy, especially if you're getting into it. Change what you're putting into your mind. It's a double-edged sword, but the advantage of driving around and we can listen to whatever we want for a lot of the time, or you can even have an AirPod in while you're working, but changing what you consume. And if you just do a search for motivational videos, you can find endless amounts, different lengths, different sizes, but just start forcing the positive voices and messages into your mind is a great place to start if you're looking for an easy way. It doesn't take much. You're already in the van. You're already listening to stuff. Just switch what it is that you're listening to.
Dude, 5 minutes of meditation is very challenging. Even I've done meditation before. Dude, it's hard to just find a mindset of just all right, just be here and just clear everything. One thing that I've found that has helped me is when I try and meditate, I do a lot of stretching and just focus on the stretch and try and just push the stretch just a little bit more. And then once that happens, then you just push it just a little bit more. And you just focus on that one thing. And it really helps you just be present with what you're doing there. And you're not trying to think about other things, worrying about your family, or you're worrying about work, you're worrying about the cute girl at work or whatever. Don't worry about any of that crap. Just be here for 5 minutes. 5 minutes is not that much of your day. It's 0.03% of your day.
5 minutes can seem like 5 hours for sure for that meditation. For me, the biggest thing that has changed is realizing that my success in my job directly correlates to my ability to connect with the customer. So I've already been able to successfully shift my mindset from money, like I need to get money, to interacting, educating. I personally get pleasure, or I get satisfaction from educating and spreading my knowledge. And that's, I think, how I get it. The money actually comes secondary, but it can be tough, especially if you're having money problems for whatever reason and you're hinging on making that sale. It's not obvious that the correct way would be to do what you can to get your mindset where you need to be. Secure your mask before helping anyone else type situation. That could look like many different things.
Like, yes, money is important. We go to work to make money. That's the point of business, is to make money. We get that. We know that money is going to come, but really what should come first is taking care of the customer. And as long as you're doing that at the highest possible level, the money is going to come. That's just the byproduct of doing the best possible job you can. That goes for anything. If you do the best possible job in point A, it's probably going to give you money. That's just eventually what's going to happen.
Not to mention all those little body language cues and tonalities that when you're happy come across when you're communicating that you don't even really recognize it unless you're trying to pay attention to it. So mindset is huge. Motivation, watching videos, walking. You know what? One of the best things that I got for the van is one of those little ovens that you plug in to the lighter, to the port, and instead of a microwaved meal, it actually heats it up, and you can get like a metal tin, and you have it's a really good meal. It's a non-microwaved meal. If that's your thing, then that's one way. Just all these little things that you can do that will stack up. And in the beginning, it's really low-hanging fruit. So it's not going to take much for you to see a lot of results.
By no means am I a nutritionist, but whenever I first started out plumbing, I was eating a bunch of crap food and my mood was crap and I was drinking a lot of alcohol. And then I eventually just changed that. And now I eat healthy on a day-to-day. I don't drink as much alcohol. And what do you know? My mood's better. Isn't that strange how that works?
No.
You put good things in and typically good things come out. You put bad things in, it's a little bit harder for those things to come out, typically.
And the drinking especially. Going to work hungover is probably like one of the worst things that you can do. You'll make it. You can make it. But you're going to do way better if you're not hungover. That is easier said than done in some situations for sure. So the prejudging of the calls, that's one thing. Another, as far as like mindset goes, is your confidence. The confidence in mainly your abilities, your knowledge, and your value to the client. The confidence in the way that you talk. If you're explaining to them, they can sense if you're not really sure for whatever reason, or if you're giving them prices and you're not confident in the prices, they'll sense that. And then it's all these little like subtle things that make it to where when they're going to say, thanks, send me the estimates, because you are the professional. And so you have to be able to act like it, but also with authority, explain your options or the issue. So I had a coworker with a customer. He was interested in a toilet. Of course, we offer good, better, best American standards. And he was explaining it to the customer, but the customer started asking like, which one's the best flush? How long do I have to hold the handle down? And then his wife got involved. And then they were the type of couple that you could tell were arguing. And so they started overthinking it. And I think it got to the point where he was trying to like constantly react to their questions and their attitudes instead of eventually being like, okay, this is what you're asking me. This is what I'm recommending. This toilet is the strongest flush. It's American standard because we stand behind it. What do you want me to do? Like, cutting them off, drawing the line and being like, this is my opinion. This is my recommendation. What do you want? Yeah. Confidence is huge in that way.
Sometimes when you offer options like that, you can find yourself in a metric that I like to call too much tech, not enough check, meaning that sometimes you're giving too much information to the customer about an option. you're getting too technical for them. Most people don't know. They don't speak plumber like we do. And so you got to put it out in layman's terms. Don't give them too much information unless they start asking questions. Obviously, answer the questions however, whatever they ask. But you don't want to give them too much information because a confused mind will say no. I know that when somebody's saying, hey, you should buy this washing machine because it's got 17 different features of washing your clothes. I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to wash my clothes. Like, I'm a guy, all right? Just throw them all in. They come out clean. I put them in the dryer. I would just pick the middle option or whatever.
Not overcomplicated. It had gotten to the point where they were into different flush sizes and different throat sizes and all of these things. And I ended up calling him and talking to him about it. And ultimately, he was like, I just want a toilet that works. And so I said, if you want a toilet that works, American Standard, Champion Pro, that's the strongest flush, in my opinion, unless you get like a pressure assist. That's what we recommend. If you want to get your own, then this is the price to install one that you want. But this is what we offer. Would you like it or not? And he ended up going with it. He ended up going with the premium, which is Champion Pro at the end. And it was like a 5-minute conversation when I called him, but I was just coming at him from, okay, this is what it is. There's no more going back and forth. These are your options. These are why I'm offering them. What do you want to do? And even like when it comes to toilets, keeping it simple, keeping it in layman's terms, and then they can ask more if they want to know the throat size and all that, then we can go down that road. But like for ours, like economy, 2-inch flapper, plastic insides. Mid-grade, 3-inch flapper, metal insides. Premium, 4-inch piston, comes up all as one, water flushes in, strongest flush, metal insides. Price is the same for ADA, price is the same for elongated or round. What do you want? And it can be that simple, and most of the time it is. It's a toilet.
That's literally all you got to say. Here's 1, 2, and 3. This, that works best for you.
Do you get a lot of price objections? Because the other thing when it comes to confidence is I'll have customers question the price. Like we were talking a little bit earlier about the Navien heat exchanger replacement, which I quoted him, and it was over $1,000. We won't get into details, but he looked at me. Well, he didn't look at me on the phone, but he said, that much for replacing a heat exchanger? And my heart would start racing, and I'm like, oh my God, am I ripping him off? Oh, now it's like instantly without thinking about it. Yes, sir. Absolutely. That's how much it costs for a licensed, bonded, certified plumber to be out there with warranty, like without a doubt, no hesitation. And at that point, I am absolutely ready to lose the sale because I'm confident in our prices and they are where they should be. And we can argue all day and it's not going to change anything. And so when I draw that line and I'm like, okay, yes, this is it. I'm confident in it. What do you want to do? And then if they decide to want to go with somewhere else, that's fine. But I think that's way better than talking down out of fear and discounting the prices so that you can just get the sale. And now it reinforced their idea that you're overcharging. Oh, he can always come off a couple $100, man. So they're all their prices are over. So I can do this on every job, every call. Got to stop that.
Yeah, that's every once in a while I get some price objections, and a lot of people are like, "Oh man, that's really expensive." Like even on a cheaper option, and I'm like, "Yeah, I understand. That's the price we have to charge to get the job done today." Man, that's a lot. I think I can't remember how much it was. It was a couple $100, and customer called us for a leaking toilet. It just keeps running. Went in there, I saw it right away. The Mansfield flapper was all depleted. I guess the customer had replaced the fill valve and the tank handle like a year prior, but he didn't replace that flapper seal. And so that flapper seal was original. It was like 20 years old. So, yeah, we just need a flapper seal. Other than that, I can give you an option for a toilet if you're interested. He's like, no, I don't think we need a toilet today. We'll just go with the flapper seal. I was like, all right, cool. It's going to be this price. And he's like, okay, cool. Signed it. I'm done in, 5 minutes. Probably I bring my tool bag in. I get the part, turn the water off, flush it down, put it on. I'm out. And I'm like, would you believe me if I'm done? He was like, oh, that wasn't worth all that money. And I'm like, pay me for my experience, not my time, is the way I see it. Like we've said before, plumbing isn't hard. It's just hard to be good at plumbing. It just takes time.
And when it comes to stuff like that, or like flappers, if we're going out for just a flapper, it is really expensive to come out and just do a flapper.
It is.
We're not in the business to go around making money on flappers. That's not our model. Let's find something else. Let's see what else is going on. Please give me an excuse to give you that flapper for free. Water heater, ROs, just anything, please.
Value stack.
Exactly. Huge thing. And now, as far as it being slower, the owners gave us permission to value stack to the limit. Like we're going to, my goal is to figure out a way to make that premium option so attractive that you would feel stupid not going with it after I leave.
Yep.
That's what we can do in the summer when it's a little bit slower. So great opportunities with someone like mindset thing. You think that it's slower, this is bad, or this is actually good because now I can slow down, maximize, and value stack and really do better, possibly do better than when it's busier, working less, not having to run around place to place and constantly chasing calls.
You were talking about, this is the price that it costs to have a license and bond plumber, and having a license costs money. Earlier on, whenever I was first starting off, I was about 25, 26, and I looked a little bit younger in the face. And a lot of customers would be like, dude, are you even old enough to really know what you're doing? I know we had that conversation a little bit with Mac. You'd have to prove your way to the customer to let them know that, you do know what you're doing. And it was challenging at first because all I had was my apprentice card. And so I couldn't whip it out and be like, I'm an apprentice. Because then they'd be like, you don't know anything. Or they would shove it back in your face, which isn't entirely true. There's a lot of apprentice plumbers out there that are very good. But once you get those licensing over time, it gives you an extra ace in your deck. Not that you can pull it out and show it off. That's not the goal of having that. To me, it's a personal achievement. So in Missouri, you have to have 8,000 hours as an apprentice practicing under a master plumber. That doesn't mean that you can't go out and do your own calls. You can do your own calls, but basically your manager, whoever's in the office, has to be a master plumber so that they can teach you, supervise you, whatever. Once you get those 8,000 hours, your manager can sign off on those hours. You get approval from the city. You go take your test. You get your journeyman's license. From there, as a journeyman, you have to have an additional 4,000 hours underneath the master plumber. Once you get there, he signs off on your hours. You go take the master's license test and you get your master's license. From there, the learning does not stop. I've had my master's for 2.5 years now, and I learn stuff that's new every day. Just because I have this, it's literally the same thing as a college degree. I have this stupid little piece of paper that says that, hey, I've completed this test and that I'm a master plumber. Cool, top of the world. No, that doesn't mean anything, okay? The issue here is whenever people start signing off on hours before the time commitment has literally been put in. My thing is there's a time part of the equation. I'm going to read directly off of what I have here. It takes time to develop the skills, and skills are required to produce the result. I'm going to give you an analogy that lays this out black and white for everybody. Say you want to bake a cake. You find the world's best cake recipe in the entire world. Martha Stewart, Rachel Ray, whoever it is, bakes cakes, right? You find the best recipe, and it's a chocolate cake, just delicious, looks awesome on the picture. You're like, awesome, cool. It's going to take 40 minutes at 400 degrees. You go, man, I don't want to wait 40 minutes. That's a long time. Let me just, hold on. What if I just turn up the temperature to 800 degrees and I put it in for 20 minutes? Mm-hmm. That'll do it, right? Boom. You put it in for 20 minutes, 800 degrees, you pull it out, and it's just a burnt clob of shit. That's the same thing learning any skill, whether you're fixing cars, plumbing, doing marketing, playing drums, whatever you're doing, there's a time aspect equation that equates to experience, and skills take time to build. Say if you worked at the company 10 years in a different department and you haven't been plumbing, you shouldn't be able to take that until you've literally been 8,000 hours in plumbing day to day. Take that journeyman's test, great, do that. But don't do it when you've only had 4,000 hours. Whenever I was working towards my 8,000 hours to get my journeyman's, once I had those hours, I did not feel ready as a plumber to take my journeyman's license test. Granted, anybody could pick this book up, read it for a month or so, and anybody could pass it. It's an open book test. It's the easiest test that you can do. If you can study, you could pass the test. But it's a fact of you need to learn these skills and hone these skills every day. And it takes years to perfect that craft. And by no means have I perfected my craft. I'm still learning today. That's the biggest thing, is you can't discredit a license if you're just trying to skip and get that card. Put in the time, put in the work, do it the hard way, do it the right way, and make sure that you get your licensing the correct way. If I go up against another plumber that hasn't done his hours but has the licensing, I'm probably going to beat you just because I've seen more at that point. I don't mean that as like a cockiness thing. I just mean that as a simple fact.
It's like a
pretty
law
much
of
the
physics.
longer you've been, it's a law of physics. The longer that you do something, the more that you have seen and the more that your skill has been honed. A black belt of 5 years is not as good as a black belt of 20 years.
You're only cheating yourself, really.
You're only cheating yourself.
Word on the street here in Phoenix is they don't even check.
Having a license, being bonded, insured, that stuff comes with a price. And giving the best possible service, that all comes with a price. And what do you expect? Do you want good people in your home or not? No,
and you're just talking about the technical side. You're not even getting into the practice and repetition for the service side. So
same thing.
There's always opportunity to learn and grow in this field if you're looking for it.
Learn every day if you can.
So now we're going to talk about mindset as it comes to service and broke fix mentality. You touched on earlier, customer, toilet's not working. He knows it's a flapper. He's had problems in the past. He's always just replaced the flapper. Yeah, it's a little expensive for a flapper. It is what it is. So that mindset of repair versus replace really comes down to your ability to articulate the situation completely to the client. Toilet is a great example because a lot of people think that if they get a weak flush, then we'll replace the fill valve, we'll replace the flapper, or we'll do something like that. A lot of people don't know that there's actually the date is stamped in the tank of the toilet. And that is a huge piece of information that you can use with the customer, especially like when you roll up, you're checking the history. You're checking to see if they've had a lot of problems with toilets. I had a client who literally had 4 or 5 different instances on toilets in their place. This is before we started implementing options and whatnot. So I go out there one time and I looked at it and I talked to him about it and I said, hey, the toilet is 30 years old because it was original. Instead of doing this and replacing this and still having a weak flush, we could replace it if you want. And if you want to replace all of them, we could even work out a deal and we can bundle it. And they ended up going with, I think, 4 new toilets just because I utilized the information and the facts. I didn't trick them and make them want to buy the premium toilets. Like I just presented the facts and that's what they chose.
Currently, City of Columbia has a toilet rebate program going on, and they will give you up to $75 per toilet, up to 2 toilets in your home, if you replace them with something that's 1.28 gallon, which is pretty much anything nowadays. So anything after or anything before 2008-ish, I think, was like a 1.6 or larger is before. And so anything after that, I typically won't offer them the rebate, but I do talk about toilet options. Say your toilet is possibly almost coming up on 15 years. Have you ever thought about a new toilet? The one question that I always use is, do you like your toilet? And that really takes a bunch of people back and they go, I never really thought of it that way. Or you'll get a lot of people laughing typically, but it's a true question. You're looking for that answer. If they don't like it, we can always get you something that's either better, or if you're looking for something that's taller, if you're looking for a different color toilet, who knows? You're looking for a more powerful toilet. Situations that are going to be different with each customer. But I know that one thing I'm going to quote from Dustin. He's one of my coworkers from this past week. He said, when he goes into a call, he tries not to do any prejudging. He said, quote, I let the call talk to me. And I was like, dude, that's good. Because he walks in very neutral. He lets the customer tell him what's going on. He's okay, cool. Let's go take a look. He just very calmly looks at the problem. He's like, all right, yeah, we're going to give you a couple options. Dude, Dustin's killing it. Every week, I'm always like, dude, how did you sell 4 toilets and a tankless and a softener and another water heater and another water heater? He's like, I don't know, I just gave him options. And they're like, I let the call talk to me. I was like, dude, you're out here killing it. I need to be taking notes from you. I wish I got to ride with him more often.
I think Chris Fresh says this, let the plumbing lead to the plumbing. Same thing, but you said not prejudging the calls and helping the customer figure out what they want. If no one's ever offered them a toilet, then they're not going to choose it.
1958 and 1959 Kohler Wellsworths. There are hundreds of them around here still. And we keep rebuilding them and they keep flushing so well. They're like a 3.5 gallon flush. It's ridiculous, but dude, they work, and I can't fault them. They're some of the best toilets I've ever seen. You just keep rebuilding them, and they keep working.
They definitely don't make them like that no more. Now Kohler just purposely makes them as complicated and unnecessary as possible. Little strange boot adapters. They definitely went the other way. Freaking Kohlers.
They got to make their money, man. They got to make their money somehow.
I guess, yeah. They didn't have to hire all these damn engineers to overcomplicate it. Right. They could save some money there. That's a suggestion.
True. Whenever we bought our house about 5 years ago, my wife wanted to paint all the bathrooms. And so I was like, oh, yeah, I'll pull the toilet so you can paint behind the toilets. Get behind. She's like, what do you mean pull the toilets? I was like, yeah, I'm going to pull the toilet so you can paint behind the wall. But I was like, here's the deal though. We're getting all new toilets and we're getting ADA height. I'm 6'2", and dude, that just makes sense to me because I'm super tall and sitting down on a 14-inch toilet is not very comfortable for me. So we finally got ADA height toilets. She loves them now, which is best. You never know what reasons you're going to replace. I replace them because I wanted taller toilets. I'm a tall guy.
It might seem like an expensive thing, but it's nice when you're on a new toilet and it's flushing and it's clean and it's we spend a lot of time on there browsing TikTok.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that we can look out for is toilet replacements. Another thing that might be an opportunity that we don't normally think about is when it comes to water filtration. In particular, first off, the client recognizing what it is that they want in the water filtration, because you have conditioners, you have softeners, you have saltless options. In particular, I had one client who had a softener, and it was relatively new. It was within the past 5 years it was installed. And I started talking to him, and he didn't realize that the softener didn't do anything for the chlorine in the water, that it strictly removed the calcium. And he was like, oh, yeah, my wife's skin's dry or whatever. And it turns out that whoever sold it to him didn't take the time to explain to him the different options. And they also didn't take the time to ask him what he wanted. In the end, after everything was said and done, he ended up buying an extra regenerative carbon to put in line with the softener because he wanted to take care of the chlorine. It's asking these questions. If a client has an RO, then a carbon is not going to be as crucial because his drinking water situation is handled by the RO. Some customers don't want to deal with the salt. Some customers hate the way it feels. Some people don't. So asking these clarifying questions, even if they already have a softener, even if they already have filtration, it could be something there that's an opportunity to add a carbon. Or I have a lot of customers that are into the one-to-one ROs, the high efficiency ones, especially here in the desert in Phoenix. And it's a few $100 difference. I've had a client say, absolutely, one-to-one. Yeah, that's important to me. To that one in particular, being efficient and being green was more important than the price. So they were willing to pay for the high efficiency one. Finding out the deeper needs of the client help open up opportunities.
Something I use is questioning and interviewing your customer about if they've ever talked about water quality. If they have, that's great. Maybe give them a refresher on what you can offer to them. Ask them, hey, does your water taste okay? Does it smell okay? If it does, okay, cool. That's great. We don't have to deal with that. If it doesn't, we do have solutions that could provide you options like carbon filters. We'll take out the chlorine, make it taste and smell better. I'll take out a lot of minerals and stuff that I can't pronounce the names to. And then you ask them, do you see a lot of white spots on your dishes? Do you see a lot of white gunky stuff on your faucets, on your shower head, stuff like that? Water softener. If you've never thought about water quality, maybe that's something you want to think about in the future. That's usually something that I tell my customer, and that at least plants the seed for them. Whether I make a sale that day or I leave them recommendations, and then one of my other coworkers comes back in a year and says the same exact thing, we're just hammering that home that, hey, water quality is a huge thing that you need to be thinking about in your home. Whether you like it or not, it's going to save your plumbing system over time.
Absolutely. Getting to know them is all part of that mindset, I think, that we're talking about. Not prejudging the calls, not being a door, being a window. Like Joe Cassera says that stuff. And it's absolutely true. And taking the time and really trying to get satisfaction and fulfillment from communication and talking to them and helping them at the end of the day. The world is crazy out there right now. And if you can go into someone's house and make them feel better and put them at ease and educate them and solve their problems so they can get on with more important things, I think that's a way that we can make the world a little bit of a better place as plumbers, as service plumbers. Everyone does that. If everyone had a service mindset with all of their interactions, think of how different the world would be, or America.
I listen to that Real AF podcast a bunch. One of the things that he says all the time is personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion. And it's like the way to become better is just like personal excellence within yourself. It starts with you. Just like Michael Jackson said, it starts with the man in the mirror. You can't help fix anybody else until you got to fix yourself. Like you said earlier, make sure you put your mask on before you start helping others. It's all about, if you can get your stuff, get your mindset, then you're equipped to help others. That's what it comes down to.
And I'll let you in on a secret. That Michael Jackson Man in the Mirror song, that's one of my songs. That's one of the ones that I can pop in and get into it, get you in the mood, because it does start with you. Be the change you want to see in the world.
Yes.
Let's see some news. We did get a Discord server up and running. One of the guys, he is awesome, and he reached out and he did all the work in a weekend. He's got it up and running. So there will be a link to the Discord server in all of the show notes. So check out the Discord. There's something I would like to maybe try and implement, self-improvement, like within the chat. Make it a point every day, start with morning gratitude or just something positive, something to help us all get into that mindset in the morning time. There's so much to be grateful for in this country, despite what people would want you to believe. And this is still the best time to be alive by far,
Yes,
in my opinion. And a big mindset change personally is learning to see that and being okay with recognizing that our lives are pretty awesome as Americans for the most part. Not everyone's like that. I get it. But I choose to see the good because there's a lot of it out there. Josh, your email and your contact for people that want to see your content is really getting good on the TikTok. It's getting very creative and funny. I'm enjoying it much. So where can they reach you and see you?
I appreciate you. If you guys want to check me out, you can check me out. I am the SleepyPlumbr. I don't know if you can see any of that at all. Probably not. Maybe you can. I'm SleepyPlumbr without the E. That's at TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. You can find me on Facebook at Josh JB Burleson.
And I am Brandon at thatplumbingpodcast.com, YouTube under Brandon the Plumber, but Discord is the future, and we're going to be active, and there's like a help section. There's a new construction sections. No matter your experience, even if you have no experience, click the link. If it doesn't work, let me know. We'll get you in.
And the last thing I'll add is if you do join that Discord, start talking about stuff in there. I know I've posted a couple things and nobody said anything back yet. So I don't want to keep it. I know you might not have notifications. Make sure you turn your notifications on when you guys join the Discord and come start a conversation with us. We're ready to talk.
Yeah, it's a good group of guys in there right now. Everyone's supportive and helping each other out. Very grateful. So just to close out, I would say no matter where you're at in your mindset, just think about ways to making small improvements, small increment implementations in the morning. I would say the easiest thing is to start listening to some motivational videos before your first call or when you're getting ready. Just start to get that positive message into your mind if that's where you're at. All right. See y'all next week.